In December 2022, a winter storm named Elliott broke Southwest Airlines. Its crew scheduling software collapsed. 16,900 flights canceled. More than 2 million passengers stranded. The transportation department eventually fined Southwest $140 million, 30 times larger than any penalty it had ever issued against an airline. 18 months later, something called Elliott arrived again. This time, it wasn't weather, it was a hedge fund. And what it broke wasn't the schedule, it was the airline's identity. Free checked bags, gone. 53 years of open seating, gone. No change fees, gone. Never having laid off a single employee in the company's entire history, gone. Southwest now sells basic economy, flies red-eyes, partners with foreign carriers, charges for extra legroom, and cuts entire cities out of its map. The airline that spent 5 decades mocking legacy carriers for nickel and diming passengers has adopted almost every practice it built its brand attacking. The question isn't whether Southwest changed, it's whether there's anything left that made it Southwest. The legend starts on a cocktail napkin. In 1966, a Texas businessman named Roland King sketched a triangle, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, for his lawyer, Herb Kelleher. There's a bronze replica of that napkin at Southwest's headquarters today. It reads, "Herb, let's start an airline," and underneath, "Roland, you're crazy." King later admitted the napkin story wasn't literally true, but he said it made for a great story, so nobody corrected it. That tells you almost everything about the company's relationship with its own mythology. What definitely happened was the fight. Braniff, Texas International, and Continental spent nearly 3 years in court trying to keep Southwest grounded. It took the Texas Supreme Court to clear it for takeoff, and the airline finally flew on June 18, 1971. Then Congress tried to strangle it. The Wright Amendment restricted flights out of Dallas Love Field to Texas and its neighboring states, a law written to protect the brand new DFW airport. Southwest refused to move. It flew inside the box for 35 years. When the restrictions finally expired at 12:01 in the morning on October 13, 2014, a countdown clock in the company lobby hit 0, and Flight 1013 left Dallas for Denver. Here's the strange part. Southwest's own former president later said the airline's culture might never have developed without that law. The cage built the animal. And that culture was specific, not vague. 2 free checked bags. No assigned seats. You picked your own. No change fees. 1 aircraft type, the Boeing 737, so training and maintenance stayed cheap. No hubs, point to point. In the early years, aircraft turned at the gate in 10 minutes, which meant more flights per plane per day than anyone else could manage. The stock ticker was love. There were hearts painted on the fuselages. Kelleher's operating philosophy was blunt. Employees first, customers second, shareholders third, because if you treat your people right, the rest follows. He said a company is stronger when it's bound by love rather than fear. He said Southwest was in the service business, and it was incidental that it flew airplanes. In 1992, he settled a trademark dispute over the slogan "Just Plain Smart" by arm wrestling the other company's CEO in a Dallas wrestling arena while smoking a cigarette. He lost. The other executive let him keep the slogan anyway. It raised $15,000 for charity. The results weren't sentimental. 47 consecutive profitable years from 1973 until COVID, and not one involuntary layoff or furlough in the airline's history, a line Southwest printed in its own corporate boilerplate for decades. In 2015, it built an entire advertising campaign around all of it, called it transparency. The chief marketing officer's line at launch, "We're not going to nickel and dime our customers." 9 years later, that sentence would become the most expensive promise in American aviation. The trouble started with the aircraft. Southwest's single-fleet strategy was its greatest cost advantage, right up until March 2019, when the Boeing 737 MAX was grounded worldwide. Southwest had 34 of them, more than any airline on Earth. Its own CEO estimated the grounding cost roughly $828 million in operating profit that year, around 28% of it. One fleet type means 1 point of failure. Then came the meltdown. Over 10 days in December 2022, Southwest's crew scheduling system, software first installed in 2004, was overwhelmed and effectively had to be shut down. Schedulers reassigned crews by hand. The airline didn't just cancel flights, it lost track of where its own people were. Total cost, including the federal penalty, exceeded $750 million. By then, Bob Jordan had been chief executive for less than a year, a 34-year Southwest employee who'd started in revenue accounting in 1988. He inherited a company whose stock had fallen more than half from its early 2021 level, whose costs were now higher than the budget airlines below it, and whose product was thinner than the legacy carriers above it. Southwest was stuck in the middle. And on Wall Street, being stuck in the middle is an invitation. Elliott Investment Management was founded in 1977 by Paul Singer. It manages roughly $70 billion. It is best known for spending 15 years fighting the country of Argentina over defaulted debt, a campaign that at one point involved the seizure of an Argentine naval vessel in a foreign port and ended in a payout of around $2.5 billion. Bloomberg once described Singer as the most feared activist investor in the world, by rival funds, by companies, and by countries. In June 2024, Elliott disclosed a stake in Southwest of roughly 11%, about $2 billion, bought at an average of just under $30 a share. Then it published a 51-page document titled Stronger Southwest. Its authors wrote that after 18 months of research, they were convinced Southwest was the most compelling airline turnaround opportunity in 2 decades. They projected the stock could rise 77% to about $49 within a year, and they demanded new leadership brought in from outside the company. Southwest fought. It adopted a poison pill to stop Elliott buying more shares. Elliott escalated. In October 2024, it demanded a special shareholder meeting and nominated 8 directors to take control of the board. Southwest publicly called the demands extreme. Then, in late October, it surrendered. 6 new directors joined the board, 5 of them Elliott's choices. Gary Kelly, the executive chairman who had run Southwest for 17 years as CEO and chairman, retired the same day, along with 7 other directors. Third quarter profit had fallen by roughly 2/3 to $67 million, which made resistance look expensive. Bob Jordan kept his job. It was the only thing Elliott asked for and didn't get. Everything else, it got. Watch how fast this happened. February 2025, Southwest announced roughly 1,775 corporate job cuts, about 15% of its corporate workforce, including 11 senior leaders at vice president level and above. The first mass layoff in the company's history. Jordan's own words, "This decision is unprecedented in our 53-year history." Herb Kelleher, years earlier, had said this, "Nothing kills your company's culture like layoffs." Also February 2025, Southwest flew its first overnight flights ever, 5 red-eye routes, chosen because flying planes at night effectively adds capacity without buying a single extra aircraft. March 2025, 3 announcements in one day, a new basic economy fare, credits that now expire after decades of never expiring, and the end of free checked bags. $35 for the first bag, $45 for the second, later raised again. And here's the number that shows exactly what was traded away. In 2024, American Airlines collected about $1.5 billion in checked bag fees, United $1.3 billion, Delta roughly $1 billion, Southwest $83 million, because it barely charged anyone. That gap was the entire brand. August 2025, Southwest, an airline that flew alone for 54 years, announced a partnership with EVA Air of Taiwan, following earlier deals with Iceland Air, China Airlines, and Philippine Airlines. Suddenly, Southwest was selling connections to Asia. January 27, 2026. Open seating ended. 53 years of picking your own seat finished. The stanchions and boarding poles came out of the airports and were replaced with digital screens. Boarding groups A, B, and C became groups 1 through 8. The cabin was split into 3 products: standard, preferred, and extra legroom, with about 5 additional inches for a fee. Roughly a quarter of the fleet had already been rebuilt inside to make it possible. Southwest was the last major U.S. airline still doing open seating. Now, nobody does. And through all of it, the map shrank. In Atlanta, Southwest went from over 36,000 annual departures in 2023 to roughly 16,000 scheduled for 2026, less than half, cutting more than 24 routes. Meanwhile, it added connecting flying elsewhere, quietly building the kind of hub-shaped network its founders spent their careers ridiculing.
Here's where I have to be straight with you, because both answers are defensible. The case that it worked. 2025 was Southwest's highest revenue year ever, around $28 billion. Adjusted operating profit beat the company's own guidance. It finished December first in on-time performance. The stock climbed to multi-year highs, and management guided 2026 earnings per share to at least $4 against 93 cents in 2025, a jump of more than 300%. The case that it didn't. Southwest's actual net income fell in 2025 to $441 million, down from $465 million the year before. It fell in the same year the airline started charging for bags and fuel got dramatically cheaper. Southwest's fuel bill dropped by roughly $655 million. Strip that tailwind out, and the transformation looks considerably worse, not better. Southwest also spent around $2.5 billion buying back its own stock, which critics argue was the actual point all along. By spring 2026, that confident $4 earnings number had quietly been softened into a range. And then there's the detail that says the most. In December 2025, with the bag fees live, the seats assigned, the layoffs done, and the stock near its high, Elliott started selling. It kept trimming through 2026. The fund that demanded Southwest become something else did not stay to find out whether it worked. So watch 3 things. Watch whether Southwest profits hold when fuel prices go back up, because that's the only honest test of whether fees fixed anything. Watch loyalty. The real damage from a devalued rewards program doesn't show up until customers finish spending down the points they already have. And watch what Southwest tells you it is now, because free bags, open seating, and a single class of service were never features. They were the answer to why you'd pick Southwest at all. Herb Kelleher used to say Southwest was in the service business, and it was incidental that it flew airplanes. In 2026, Southwest is in the airline business, and the service was the part that turned out to be incidental.